Hello, welcome to Azure Cloud Channel. In this module, we will talk about data warehousing and analytics for sales and marketing. And I will cover topics what is data warehouse, data analytics, and what is the architecture for data warehousing and analytics for sales and marketing in Azure, and what are the components involved and what are the other alternative solutions. Before we go to architecture, let's talk about data warehouse. What is a data warehouse? A data warehouse is a central repository of information that can be analyzed to make more informed decisions. Data flows into a data warehouse from transactional systems, relational databases, and other sources, typically on a regular cadence. Business analysts, data engineers, data scientists, and decision makers access the data through business intelligence tools, SQL clients, and other analytics applications. Data and analytics have become indispensable to business to stay competitive. Business users rely on reports, dashboards, and analytics tools to extract insights from their data, monitor business performance, and support decision making. Data warehouses power these reports, dashboards, and analytics tools by storing data efficiently to minimize the input and output of data and deliver query results quickly to hundreds and thousands of users concurrently. A data warehouse is specially designed for data analytics, which involves reading large amounts of data to understand relationships and trends across the data. The company needs a modern approach to analysis data so that decisions are made using the right data at the right time. Let's check the architecture in Azure. So we see different data sources. They are Microsoft SQL Server on-premises or other relational databases such as Teradata, Oracle, and Azure SQL database, storage table, Cosmos database. And we can ingest that data into Azure Blob Storage or Azure Data Lake Storage using Azure Data Factory, and we can load into SQL Data Warehouse. And Azure Analysis Service can connect to SQL Data Warehouse, and Power BI can connect to analysis and build the dashboards. And we can use Azure Active Directory for for authentication, to connect to SQL Data Warehouse and Analysis Service. Before we talk about data flow, let's talk about each component that exists in this architecture. What is a storage blob? You can see it in the ingestion, orchestration in the middle. So what is Azure Blob Storage? Blob Storage is used to stage source data before it is loaded into Azure Synapse. What is Azure Data Lake Storage? Azure Data Lake Storage is a secure cloud platform that provides scalable, cost-effective storage for big data analytics. Azure Data Lake Storage is a fully managed, elastic, scalable, and secure file system that supports HDFS semantics and work with Apache. The Azure Data Lake Store service provides a platform for organizations to park and process and analyze vast volumes of data in any format. What is Data Factory? Data Factory orchestrates the transformation of staged data into a common structure in Azure Synapse. Data Factory uses Polybase when loading data into Azure Synapse to maximize throughput. If you see it in the architecture SQL Data Warehouse, that is we call Azure Synapse, it is formerly SQL Data Warehouse. We can use Azure Data Factory. Azure Data Factory is Azure's Cloud ETL service for scale-out serverless data integration and data transformation. Azure Data Factory offers a code-free UI for authoring and single pane of glass monitoring and management. We can also lift and shift existing SSIS packages to Azure and run them with full compatibility in Azure Data Factory. What is Azure Synapse? That is called SQL Data Warehouse. Azure Synapse is a distributed system for storing and analyzing large data sets. It is use of massive parallel processing makes it suitable for running high performance analytics. Azure Synapse can use Polybase to rapidly load data from blob storage. And when we are loading data into Azure Synapse, we can use that round robin distribution to load the data into staging. And for the production tables, for large tables, we can use hash distribution. Please go through the session that it talks about all the distributions in Azure Synapse. Please go through that module. And let's talk about analysis service. Analysis service provides a semantic model for our data. It can also increase system performance when analyzing our data. Azure Analysis Service is a fully managed platform as a service that provides enterprise-grade data model in the cloud. And after that, we see that visualization, we use Power BI. Power BI is a suite of business analytics tools to analyze data and share insights. And we can connect to an analysis service, from Power BI, we can connect to analysis service, and we can extract data and build dashboards. Power BI can query a semantic model stored in analysis service, or it can query Azure Synapse directly. We can connect to SQL Data Warehouse or SQL Database Analysis Service or Hadoop HD clusters using Power BI. And let's talk about authentication service, Azure Active Directory. Azure Active Directory authenticates users who connect to the analysis service server through Power BI. Data Factory can also use Azure Active Directory to authenticate to Azure Synapse via service principal or managed identity for Azure resources. Let's talk about data flow. The data flows through this solution. For each data source, any updates are exported periodically into a staging area in Azure Blob Storage. It could be Azure Blob Storage or Azure Data Lake Storage. Data Factory incrementally loads the data from blob storage into staging tables in Azure Synapse Analytics. That data is cleansed and transformed during this process. Polybase can parallelize the process for large data sets. And we can use this Azure Data Factory to ingest data from the source. And we can do the ETL transformations using Data Factory. Then we can load the data into the SQL Data Warehouse, that is Azure Synapse. And we can also use Polybase for large data sets. After loading a new batch of data into warehouse, a previously created analysis services tabular model is refreshed. This semantic model simplifies the analysis of business data and relationships. After that, the business analysts or BI developers or data scientists can use this Power BI tool for data visualization. And they use Power BI to analyze warehouse data via the analysis service semantic model. And let's talk about alternatives. In the example, we see pipeline includes several different kinds of data sources. This architecture can handle a wide variety of relational and non-relational data sources. The relational such as SQL Server, Teradata, Oracle, or any other database. and non-relational data sources also. And Data Factory orchestrates the workflows for our data pipeline. And if we want to load data only one time or on demand, we can use other tools also. AZ Copy, Command Line Utility Tool, or we can use Storage Explorer, and we can use other tools to load data into blob storage. If we have very large data sets, then we can use data lake storage. The data lake storage provides a limitless storage for analytics data. It is built for massive amounts of, it is built to store a massive amount of big data. An on-premises SQL Server parallel data warehouse appliance can also be used for big data processing. And Azure Synapse is not a good fit for OLTP workloads or data sets smaller than 250 GB. In this case, we must use Azure SQL Database or SQL Server. For smaller data sets below 250 GB, we can use Azure SQL Database or SQL Server, because Azure Synapse holds a vast amount of data. So if we have data more than 250 GB, we should go for Azure Synapse. If it is less, then we must go for Azure SQL DB or SQL Server. And so far in this module, we covered data warehousing and analytics for sales and marketing, and what is the architecture, and what is the data warehouse, and what is a data analytics, and what are the components involved in the architecture, and we discussed about data flow. So, and we also discussed about alternatives. If you have any questions on this, please post them in the comments. If you like this video, please subscribe and share the channel. Thank you.